Today something shifted in the air and you sensed it before hearing any headline, as if the world itself had paused to breathe, waiting for an announcement that never appears fully, only whispering through corridors of power and restless digital spaces. This is not merely about a distant president or a country seen only on maps. It is about the quiet awareness that invisible forces are moving and that decisions taken far away may reach your own life sooner than you expect. There are moments when history walks slowly and others when it suddenly runs. And this is one of those hours when time feels accelerated while discreet voices speak of operations, pressures and meetings that were never entirely recorded. Reports began to surface in a solemn tone, blending official statements, leaks and fragmented declarations, all suggesting that something extraordinary may have occurred around Nicolás Maduro and the tense relationship between Venezuela and the United States. For years, Maduro's name has been surrounded by accusations, sanctions and harsh speeches, creating a permanent atmosphere of conflict that shaped the image of a government seen by some as resistance and by others as oppression. What now circulates is not simply another chapter of this dispute, but a narrative filled with words like capture, forced displacement and foreign courts, expressions that carry heavy symbolic weight when tied to a head of state. None of this emerges in a vacuum, because Venezuela has long lived with scarcity, mass migration, and a population trained to survive uncertainty while the outside world watches from a distance. Economic sanctions, applied as instruments of pressure, have reshaped everyday life for millions and quietly prepared the background for every piece of news coming out of Caracas. Now, as versions of a direct action begin to circulate, a growing sense appears that something larger is at stake, something that crosses borders and challenges the unwritten rules of international diplomacy. Sources speak of unusual movements, backstage tensions and decisions taken away from cameras, while allied and opposing governments carefully measure their words and wait for confirmations that never come whole. For those who live far away, this may look like another distant episode, but for anyone who knows Latin America's recent history, every rumor carries the weight of coups, interventions, and broken promises. The idea of a leader being removed from his own territory by foreign forces touches old wounds and reopens debates about sovereignty, power, and the right to choose one's own destiny. In many Venezuelan homes, the news arrived like a disturbing whisper, because every major shift in leadership has always brought deep consequences to those living at the base of society. At the same time, in foreign capitals, analysts read between the lines and tried to sketch possible scenarios, as if the future could be fully captured by charts that never show the faces of affected people. Some see all this as the beginning of liberation. Others see only another act of interference. And between these extremes lives a population longing simply for stability. Even without definitive confirmation, the circulation of these stories already changes markets, speeches, and decisions, because international politics also moves through fear and expectation. When a rumor gains volume, it stops being merely a rumor and begins shaping behavior, creating provisional realities that influence choices before the truth is known. This is often how history unfolds, first as a whisper, then as a headline, and finally as memory, while ordinary people adapt to what they never chose. At the center of this storm of information, Maduro's name becomes a symbol of a larger conflict involving worldviews, economic interests, and geopolitical disputes. It is not only about one man, but about what he represents inside a global mechanism that decides who remains and who falls. Each new official statement seems more cautious than the last, as if words were being weighed on invisible scales to avoid chain reactions. Meanwhile, entire communities remain suspended in expectation, waiting for clear signs that might reveal whether a new phase is coming or if this is just another cloud of uncertainty. The feeling is of standing before a half-open door, where a cold wind announces change, but never fully reveals what lies beyond. For those watching, there remains the effort to understand how distant moves may influence economies, politics, and even relationships among neighboring nations. The world feels smaller when decisions made in closed rooms echo through simple neighborhoods and empty tables. Perhaps this will be remembered as one of those moments that marked the beginning of something greater, even if today it still seems fragmented and unclear. For now, what exists is a mosaic of reports, versions, and silences, inviting reflection about who truly holds power. And while the dust has not yet settled, a quiet question echoes in every incomplete headline, asking whether we are witnessing only another rumor or the first sign of a historic turn. Amid all this, you continue your life with the strange sense that something distant may somehow cross your own path. Because when the world changes even slowly, it never changes alone, and every person feels that movement in a different way. Perhaps the deepest truth of this moment lies not in the headlines, but in the awareness that history is being written now, while you listen, think, and choose what to believe.